and welcome to my dungeon. Today is our last foray into the rules of the Black Sword Hack Ultimate Chaos Edition. And it's going to cover some of the most unique rules of the system, the ones I'm actually most excited about. This is covering the world building rules that enable you to create your very own unique Black Sword Hack world, and also the tools found in the appendices that help you to create the adventures to fill that world with excitement. If that excites you, consider liking the video down below and subscribing to my channel. Thank you very much. Let's get into today's topic. The Black Sword Hack gives you a number of random tables, adventure seeds, rumors and tools you can use to create your own world. But what it does not give you is a map or a method of drawing your world map. You can of course do this as a GM or take a blank world map from somewhere. There's a brilliant fractal world generator on Dungeon RPG that you could use to generate the world map. But what I would encourage you to do is to draw the map together as a group in the session 0. I made a video about that years ago, so my presentation style is a bit slower than it is nowadays, but I think the content of that video is still good. And you can use the method I present in that video of creating the map together, taking your turns, filling it in with regions and places of interest with the Black Sword Hack, no problem. You could even just use that and not use the tools presented in the Black Sword Hack itself. What this gives you is a number of random tables and regional adventure seeds that you can use to put as points of interest on the map. So onto your map, put the Forbidden City, put the Amber Enclave, put in the Golden Archipelago. And once you are at the point where you are sharing rumors about the world, you can choose from the 6 rumors presented here, or you can just roll a d6 and pick a random rumor. Or why not do a mixture of both? Roll on this table twice and present the 2 results to the group, and the group shall decide whichever sounds more interesting. That way, it's not completely random, but you're not struck by choice paralysis because you've got 6 choices. 2 choices is manageable, I think. In here you also have the random tools to generate the main antagonist, the forces serving chaos, the forces serving order, and what they look like. You have random tables to roll on calamities and natural disasters, because the end of the world is nigh. And once you have created your world, keep in mind, this world is not meant to be saved. The kingdoms are not meant to be preserved. Kingdoms and empires will disappear, and the world itself is not safe. The setting at the beginning and at the end of the campaign shouldn't be the same. Whether characters are agents of that change is for the players to decide. This is your own world to do with as you please. But unlike many published campaigns, you don't have to worry about leaving the world in a place that can still be played in at the end of it. So be bold in your adventures and the changes you bring into the world. Let kingdoms be destroyed. Let entire continents sink into the waves. Let the moon itself crash into the world. Be bold. Think big. Make wide, sweeping changes to the world. And if the game ends with everyone dying or with a few survivors fleeing through a magical portal into another world, then I'd say it's a good ending. Once you have created your world and your points of interest, you might want to travel there. No matter how long the trip takes, And in case you don't have a map yet, you can just roll how many days it will take. But no matter how long, you generate, using these two tables, 2 random encounters. This is not realistic at all, of course. You would expect that on a long journey you'd have more random encounters than on a short journey. But from a dramatic standpoint, it makes sense. Because you don't want a journey to be so unimportant that nothing happens. Journey should be a kind of an adventure in and of itself. And you don't want a journey to be so agonizingly long that you never get where you actually want to be going. So from a dramatic standpoint, having 2 random encounters is a good amount. And these random encounters don't have to be combat focused, not at all. First you roll on the theme. It could be aggression or revelation, or it could be something to do with isolation. Then the subject could be an antagonist. The antagonist might be on campaign with his army, or a hermit. Then the isolation makes sense. You meet a hermit that lives in isolation. Any number of places and people you might meet in those places. And from here it's up to the GM to flesh this out. Maybe you get the lost merchant, and that might be a merchant caravan that is lost, that has maybe lost some pack animals and can't continue on, or they have lost their caravan leader and now they can't find their way, and the characters need to help them out. And the merchants might thank them, reward them with some gold, or maybe some rare spices and drugs, maybe some information and rumors. And even if the theme is aggression or death, it still doesn't have to be combat encounter, at least not for the players. From this example, 1 aggression and 17 soldiers, the easiest way would be that the PCs find a bunch of soldiers, but they could also witness an attack by deserters on an oasis. And then they can decide, do they try to help the oasis? Or do they help the deserters? Or do they sneak by? Or do they use the chaos of the attack to steal something from the oasis themselves? It's up to your players to decide how they want to handle this situation. And that's just way more interesting than having a goblin jump out of a bush and scream, "Initiative!" I also got some short rules for travel by ship and combat on sea, because in a sword and sorcery setting this is a very common form of transport, and no sword and sorcery role-playing game would be complete without. These rules are fairly abstract. A ship is defined by its number of masts, from 1 to 3, telling you how big the ship is. You can replace masts with blood crystals, reactor cores, or whatever, it just gives you the general size of the ship. And then you also have a crew score, representing the number and competence of your crew, and that will be a score from 8 to 13. You can roll a d6 plus 7 to determine this score. Now, when you travel, the captain makes an intelligence test. Success means travel time is unchanged. Critical success means travel time is halved. Failure means travel time is doubled. And on a critical failure, you have to face the perils of the sea. Might be a storm, might be pirates, might be someone's gone overboard, and so forth. Once the peril is resolved, the captain needs to roll again. So most of this time, sea travel can be handled in a single roll by the captain. But should you find yourself in combat against another vessel, then the players roll 1d20 for each mast that their ship has. So up to 3d20. Each roll below the crew score, so 8 to 13, gives them a success, and they can spend successes as follows. 1 success to destroy an enemy mast. And I'd say if an enemy ship has no more masts left, it is dead in the water and might be sinking. 2 successes to attempt a boarding action, then we go to boarding action. 3 successes to distance yourself from the enemy ship and get away, get out of combat. But if none of your rolls are a success, which is likely if you only have 1 mast, then the players have to choose one of the 3 bad following consequences that might happen. Your ship loses 1 mast, which is really bad if you only have 1 mast. The crew score is decreased by 1, some of your crew are killed, making your next roll even more unlikely to succeed. Or your ship is boarded, then we go into boarding action. In the Sword and Sorcery, boarding action is how sea combat is handled. We want to have epic sword fight, swashbuckling action. So whether it's offensive or defense, you can resolve a boarding action in 2 ways. Either it's character centric, then each character takes an action that helps boarding or defending. That could be anything: swing from a rope, facing the enemy captain in one-on-one combat, rolling a number of barrels down the deck, extinguishing a fire, rallying your own crew into combat. And depending on what your action is, your GM will require different rolls for you to succeed. If half of the characters succeed, the action is a success, so this is just a group check. For each character who failed, the crew score is reduced by 1. So you can succeed at this, but at a cost of losing crew members. You can also resolve this crew centers. Then the player make a crew test. On a success means that your party is successful. So you either defend your ship from being boarded or you board the enemy ship, bring it under your control. But on a normal success, you also lose a few of your own crew members, so you decrease the crew score by 1. On a critical success, you quickly capture the enemy ship or repel the enemy boarding action and secure your own ship without any casualties. On a failure, your boarding party is repelled, so either you don't take the enemy ship and they get away to maneuver once again, or your own ship is taken and is now under enemy control. Anyway, you also lose 1 crew point. And on a critical failure, it's the same as a failure, but you lose 2 crew points. Now, all of these boarding action rules are something to speed up your game. But if the boarding action and the ship combat is one of the main events of your story, if you're hunting down a famous pirate or getting hunted down by a famous enemy pirate, then this is a major scene and you should resolve it with the normal combat rules, ignoring all of these boarding action rules, and instead focus on heroic sword fighting combat. Appendix 5. Your favorite sword and sorcery book is a plot generator. Actually, let's try this out. So, first step. Find a novel or short story you like. Complete Chronicles of Conan the Barbarian. Check. Open the book at a random page and stab the page with your finger. Check. Write down the first name or noun you come across. It grew to a cloud. So we get cloud. Flip to another random page and find a verb. Okay. The Sanctuary of Dragon and Akito. Only this can save. Save. Repeat the process for another noun or name. And now the breed. Jealous priest of Stygia, before I could learn. Is this sentence enough, or do you need something for the characters to do? Cloud, save, breed, learn. I can't make anything out of this yet. So I'll look for an action verb or a word suggesting a goal. Now will the villages burst in flames and ships founder. Admired them and their leader and felt a pulse of pride that he was admitted into their company. Hunts. Yeah, but hunts could be interesting. You can also ask yourself and the book questions like who, what, where, why, how. We have enough ideas for a possible plot. So, whom needs to be saved from a cloud? The temple of Hanuman needs to be saved from a cloud. And it needs to be saved by learning of a breed who hunts. Might be a breed of dog. So they need to learn of dogs who hunt. They need to recruit a dog, find a dog, a hunting dog, maybe somewhere in a village, but they are hunting what? What are they hunting? Dragons. Oh, they are hunting dragons, alright. And like this, I get the seed of an adventure. The characters have to save the temple of Hanuman from a cloud, and they do that by learning of a breed of dogs, and they use that to hunt dragons. And like this book becomes a plot generator. The Dark God's Oracle is useful if you don't know what should happen next. Give you some more random inspiration, especially useful if you're solo playing this. So first you have to ask the Oracle the right question. It must be a yes or no question, and both answers need to keep the story moving in one direction or the other. Will the slavers try to attack the characters and take them prisoner? Hell no. Hell yes. Yes, but they will try but something else. Refining things a bit, you can push chance in one direction or the other. If you think that the outcome is unlikely, roll 3 dice and keep the lowest. If you think it is very likely, roll 3 dice and keep the highest. Though at this point I just sell hell yes, or hell no, and don't roll the dice at all. But if you're rolling doubles, something unexpected occurs. That could be very negative, very positive. And then you've got a D66 table to learn about the theme and subject of the event. So something positive might have happened, and that might be love in a cave. And it's up to you to make something useful of it. Might have to do with dragon hunting. Anyhow, that's all I've got for today. Thank you so much for watching. I wish thee safe travels, dreamers, until we shall meet again.